More and more school districts dealing with a school budget shortfall.
Yeah, teachers in New Britain could actually start facing layoffs soon because the district is up against some potential budget cuts. Your reporter Anna Stansfield live outside the Board of Ed there to explain what parents and teachers need to know. So Anna, good morning. What's the latest?
Well, good morning. This has come as quite the shock to some people in this community, and it could have some pretty immediate consequences. District leaders say if they don't get the funding they need, they could be forced to start laying off teachers as early as tomorrow. Right now, the mayor is proposing a $1 million budget increase to the school district, but the superintendent says that small increase would be catastrophic for the district. In reality, he says they need $18.9 million to bridge their current funding gap, as he hopes to avoid layoffs and program cuts. Meanwhile, Mayor Bobby Sanchez says his proposed budget is the sustainable way to do this. He says the $1 million increase comes as a recurring education fund that will continue to provide stable dollars every year, reducing the burden on taxpayers. But some taxpayers say they're willing to pay more if it means students can get the right education.
More cuts will destroy the basic structure of our schools. As a taxpayer, I am acutely aware of the importance of every dollar. However, our primary responsibility must be to prioritize education.
Every dollar we cut from our classrooms today will be paid back tenfold tomorrow.
And tonight, the Board of Education will have a special meeting where they'll discuss what the potential impacts of these cuts could be. I'm your reporter live in New Britain, Anna Stansfield, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.